Welcome to Rise TV1. Today I'm going to be interviewing a young lady that has modelled for Victoria Beckham, is a startup photographer and has her own huge following with her online blog, Snow Black. Please welcome Natasha.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So what inspired you to write the blog Snow Black and where did the name originate from?
When I first moved to London, I had a lot of spare time on my hands, and so I saw, in magazines online, this whole blog phenomenon. And I thought it was very interesting. People blogging about fashion, about food, their travels, and I thought, let me try and do something similar. So I got into it, and the name basically came from an episode on America's Next Top Model when one of the models, they had to play different fairy tale characters, and one of the models was black, she had to be Snow White, and so she's like, no, actually I'm Snow Black, and so I thought that was really funny, and I took that on as a name for my blog.
So how did you get into modelling?
When I was 14, and this is when I was still living in South Africa, I was scouted before, but my mom was like, no, you're too young, you need to finish school first. So after high school, I moved to Canada, and I did a bit of modeling there. Then I also did an exchange year in Paris for 1 year, and I was visiting friends here who were living in London, and that's when I got scouted by an agency and decided to take it on full time after I finished my studies in Vancouver.
What sacrifices have you had to make to get to where you are today?
Well, I guess it's being away from family, because if I want to go to a place where I can make money, I have to realize, how often will I see my parents, and my little brother, and that's the difficult part. And it's also sacrificing time, because you think one day you're free to do something, and then your agency calls you and they say, you have a job, and you can't really be like, oh no, I have to go to this birthday party. It's like, okay, there's maybe 10 grand on the line or something, and when you're at a position where you really need to be working constantly, you have to make yourself available. It's almost like sacrificing your social life a little bit to an extent, at least during the week. Weekends okay, but during the week you can't just do anything without letting the agency know.
What's been your favourite shoot to work on and why?
It was around London Fashion Week, and it was with Rankin. It was a project called All Walks with Erin O Conner, and they just had different models, different ethnicities, shapes and sizes and ages, and just being shot by Rankin was amazing. Going to his studio and working with the other models, I think to me that's been the highlight so far of people that I've worked with. It was really great.
Oh, brilliant. And what advice would you give to any other aspiring models out there?
I would say, do the modeling, but also do other things. Occupy yourself with hobbies, interests, or even if it's learning another language or doing another course, because you don't want modeling to occupy your time in your life 24/7. Not everyone makes it right away overnight, and so that tends to frustrate a lot of girls and make them wonder, am I not good enough for this? So if you get into other things whilst you're modeling, then it's good, it bounces you out as a person.
If you were going to leave the world today, what would be your last words on your blog?
I'll just post a regular post as usual. I wouldn't really want to make it seem like the be-all and end-all and kind of freak people out, but it'll just be whatever interesting thing that I have to share with people, and then I'll just go off that day and enjoy that last day, have a coffee, go to a museum and sit by the park, and to me I think that's what life is about, and so I wouldn't want my blog to be the last thing that I did on this earth. I love it, but there's also other things to share with people, and you want to leave the world in a positive note. So I wouldn't want to write anything depressing. I just leave it the way that it regularly is.
Okay, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming here today. It's been a pleasure interviewing you.
Thanks for having me.